So once the three claimants have spoken, the heroine has a problem. And in a lot of stories, she attempts to reconcile the competing claims to her sacred fire through a captivity bargain. This is where you get the archetypal captive princess. She usually agrees to the captivity bargain voluntarily, such as Katniss. She's like, I volunteer as tribute. A lot of heroines agree to it willingly. Not always, but a lot of them do agree to it willingly. The reason they agree is because they're trying to reconcile the chaos of the three claimants. So they are agreeing to conform. They are agreeing to downplay their individuation. They're agreeing to captivity on some level in order to create a little bit of social harmony, which it's a little bit of a tragic scenario, but she's agreeing to it because she trusts the people who are telling her she shouldn't be wanting these other things. So the heroine makes a captivity bargain. However, she crosses her finger behind her back because her claim toward individuation is not going anywhere. She still wants all that she wants. She still aspires to something more. So she will be non-conforming, but secretly. That's typically part of the captivity bargain. But in the early going, she does agree to it, and she is captive for a time, while maybe breaking the captivity bargain secretly if she can. Okay. And then the next theme is what I call the Black Swan. Now, this is the theme that is the most random. It could show up anytime in any story, and it's a bizarre one. I didn't know what to make of it for a long time. In fact, Cameron had a great theory on where it comes from, but this is called the Black Swan. And a lot of heroines have apocalyptic imagery associated with their stories at some point, nature gone awry, whether we're talking about the tornado coming in Wizard of Oz, the mushroom cloud blowing up in Terminator 2 right in front of Sarah Connor, or I don't know if you know the story, Their Eyes Were Watching God, but there's a hurricane, a Florida hurricane that comes through in Act 3 and just devastates the society and upturns the heroine's entire world. But the Black Swan is a natural, temporary event that comes in and upturns the heroine's world. And it was stunning to see how often the Black Swan recurs in heroine-centric stories. And then lastly, for part one, is the call to adventure. This sounds so basic, and in some ways it is, but it's not like the hero's journey. The call to adventure is a narrative advice that gets the heroine out of one place and into another part of her journey. The call to adventure is him getting ready to leave his native culture and go out into the exotic other world. However, with heroines, and this was part of your debate the other day with Brianna, home as captivity versus home as comfort. I noticed something. This was early in my studies when I still judged heroines on the hero's journey scale. I noticed that heroines were skipping the refusal of the call. And this bothered me because I thought that it was a flaw in the writing. I thought that writers were skipping the refusal of the call to make heroines more brave, and they weren't letting them vacillate, but that turns out not to be true. The home environment to many heroines is oppressive, confining, restrictive. Heroines are very eager to get out of their home environment to explore their native culture. They want this. Their native culture looks exotic to them. It's just outside their window. They want to go check it out. So they are less likely to refuse the call. Secondly, if you understand the hero's journey, and my theory that it is really the soldier's journey, when the hero is asked to leave his home, he's facing his own expendability and likelihood of destruction in the story. So if that's on the table, that's a good reason to balk. It's a good reason to think twice before you go on this journey. I don't think heroines are facing that self-annihilating potential for destruction on the journey the same way that a soldier might be. So I think that they're less likely to skip the call. Home becomes to a soldier the place of safe returns. Home is where you go back to. The Shire. I think you guys mentioned the Shire. Thank God we're back there. Or the Fortress of Solitude, or Starfleet headquarters, or the Batcave. It's a place of sanctuary, and it's certainly more preferable to the horrors of a war-torn place. So the call to adventure is a little bit different for heroines. They usually jump at the chance and are enthusiastic about accepting that call to adventure. And that would end what I guess I hate saying Act 1, but what would be the equivalent of Act 1 for this.
Okay. We don't want to stop for too long, but okay. But then to clarify this point then, because I can also think of for home being confining for males in the hero's journey.
Yes.
Okay. So we have that same element there.
Yes. So here's the difference.
Okay.
You actually mentioned a couple great examples, like Luke Skywalker. Clearly, he feels confined.
Yeah.
And this is, I'll have to write a separate book on the hero's journey at some point, but I have analyzed it and I have notes on it. The native culture's claim to male heroes tend to be for labor or for warfare. Those tend to be the two claims the native culture places. Luke's claim, like Neo in The Matrix. Remember his boss gives him that talking to, you find yourself another job, sir. The native culture is claiming their labor. And the hero is like, I think I could be doing more than this menial work. Luke Skywalker says the same thing. But again,
exactly that. Yeah.
Exactly. So the key factor is, what is the likelihood of their destruction by accepting the call to adventure? Neo and Luke go on the hero's journey. Their destruction is very likely. So that's why they're like, well, I don't know. You can go I'll take you to Anchor ahead. Neo opens the door to the car. He was like, fine. He's like, I'm out of here before he comes back. So because that's why I think warrior-oriented tropes of the hero's journey, the hero balks first before accepting the call. And I think it's a secret message embedded in there to tell us that like even heroes are afraid of this. So if you're afraid of it, you're normal.
Well, right. No, it is that. It is that. So, but you're saying that because, in the masculine side of this, the hero side of this, the hero is fantasizing about adventure, instead like Luke Skywalker, Neo, all of that, the classic Percival fantasizing about adventure. And then all of a sudden it's offered to them. And then they have to actually confront the reality of what adventure means, which is their probable destruction.
Yes.
And so they prevaricate.
And I would just caution saying that's masculine. I think it's warrior oriented. So if a woman is about to go on the hero's journey, if she's confronted with the possibility of her destruction, and it's a likelihood, she'll probably balk too.
That's right. Because like I said, I separate masculine and feminine from necessarily male or female. So
right, a warrior about to set off on a serious quest like that will think twice, and they should think twice. Heroines aren't thinking twice necessarily because it's a different situation for them. The motivation to leave is different. They're trying to get out of a confining environment, so they will not likely refuse the call. So my rule advice to writers was weigh those two things out for the refusal of the call. How oppressive is the home environment, and what is the likelihood of their destruction if they accept the call to adventure? And I mean death, like you will be annihilated. If depending on your answer to those, they'll have the refusal of the call or they won't, or it'll make more sense or it won't.
Okay.
In the call to adventure.